the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Before the light of Islam illuminated Arabia. Before the Quran echoed across the deserts. Before a man named Muhammad walked with the final message of God. There was Mecca. A city, ancient, sacred, but also buried in shadows, idols, and forgotten truths. Today, we journey back to a time before Islam, to uncover the hidden history of Mecca, and the incredible events that prepared it for divine transformation. The ancient roots of a holy city. Long before Islam, Mecca stood as more than just a desert town. It was a valley between barren mountains, surrounded by dry earth, under the blazing Arabian sun. But within its harshness, lay a gift from Allah. The Zamzam well. A source of life, sprung miraculously beneath the feet of Ismail, son of Prophet Ibrahim and Hajar. This well would become the heart of Mecca's settlement. And near it, stood something even more sacred, a cube-shaped structure, the Kaaba. Built by Ibrahim and Ismail, as a house of monotheism. A sanctuary for worshipping Allah alone. Yet as centuries passed, the purity of this house faded. When idols entered the sacred Mecca changed. The Kaaba, once a place for Tawheed, the oneness of Allah, became home to 360 idols. Each idol represented a tribe, a power, or a superstition. From Hubal to Lat, Uzza, and Manat. The Quraysh, Mecca's dominant tribe, profited from this. They controlled the Kaaba, the pilgrims, the trade. And slowly, they turned Mecca into a city of rituals without faith. People still circumambulated the Kaaba. But they did it naked. They prayed. But not to Allah. Instead, they prayed to stone. The tribal system, pride and division. Arabia at that time was a land of tribes. Loyalty wasn't a truth. It was to your bloodline, your clan, your honor. And Mecca was no different. The Quraysh tribe, especially Banu Hashim and Banu Umayyah, ruled the city. Tribal elders were the lawmakers. They settled disputes, led trade, and defended their people. But they also upheld ignorance, known as Jahiliyyah. In Mecca, honor was everything. Reputation was a currency. Poetry was power. Yet mercy was rare. The darkness of Jahiliyyah, the age before Islam, is called Jahiliyyah, the age of ignorance. It was an age marked by darkness, despite the desert sun. Women were seen as less than human. Some were buried alive at birth. Fathers ashamed to have daughters. Slavery was common. The poor were oppressed. The rich feasted while orphans cried in silence. Alcohol flowed freely. Gambling, idol worship, tribal wars. People fought for months over a camel race or spilled water. The soul of Mecca, once built upon submission to Allah, was now drowning in pagan pride. The Kaaba, a house desecrated. The Kaaba stood, but it was no longer a house of Allah. It had become a marketplace of idols. Offerings of food, gold, and gifts surrounded it. Even though some Arabs believed in a supreme God, they treated him as distant. They believed the idols would bring them closer to him. But Allah never needed intermediaries. One man, Zayd ibn Amr, stood near the Kaaba, rejecting the idols. He prayed alone, seeking the faith of Ibrahim. He was mocked. But he wasn't alone in his longing. He was a sign that hearts were still searching. A strange event, the year of the elephant in the year 570 CE, something happened that shook Arabia. A Christian ruler from Yemen, Abraha, led an army with an elephant to destroy the Kaaba. He wanted to divert pilgrims to his church in Sana'a. As they marched near Mecca, the Quraysh fled in fear. Only one man prayed and trusted in Allah. Abdul Muttalib, the grandfather of the Prophet Muhammad. And then, something miraculous happened. Allah sent flocks of birds, ababil, carrying stones of fire. Abraha's army was destroyed, not by swords, but by the will of Allah. That year became known as the Year of the Elephant, and in that same year, a boy was born. A boy who would change the world. The coming of light. The boy's name was Muhammad ibn Abdullah. Born an orphan, raised among the Quraysh. But unlike them, he never bowed to idols. He was known as Al-Amin, the trustworthy. He watched the injustices of Mecca, and his heart ached. He saw the poor crushed by the rich, the Kaaba filled with false gods, and women treated like property. And so he climbed the cave of Hira, to think, to cry, to pray, until, one night, the light returned. The transformation begins with the words, Iqra, Bismi Rabbika Alathi Khalik. Read, in the name of your Lord who created. The world began to change. From that mountain, a message descended. A message that would purify Mecca, restore the Kaaba, uplift the oppressed, and awaken the slumbering souls. It was the return of Tawheed, the oneness of God. The idols would fall. The tribes would unite. And Mecca would once again become the center of light. Reflections. So the next time you see the Kaaba, wrapped in black, circled by millions, remember this, it wasn't always this way. It was once filled with idols, once ruled by ignorance, once buried in darkness. But Allah never abandons His house, nor His people. From the ruins of ignorance, He raises light. And from the deserts of Mecca, He sent a mercy to the worlds. Muhammad, the final messenger. From the city that once forgot God, to a city that now welcomes His worship, forever. Before Islam, Mecca was lost. But Allah never forgets His promise. This was the hidden history of Mecca, before the light of Islam. Subscribe, like and share, and send me your comments. See you in our next video. Salam.